Connery Curious.
Saga, Last Crusade, You Only Live Twice, and the Anderson Tapes,
Murder on the Orient Express. You never know what the wheel's gonna spin next. Marty and a woman of straw, and a wounded man in Africa. We are curious of the filmography of Sir Sean Connery.
But Eric works the open mics on Wednesdays. He does sound.
Okay. All right, nice.
So you should come out and play some tunes and say hi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same goes to all you out there, listeners. I'm counting this in the podcast now.
There we go.
Speaking of Mario Lima,
Dylan Titus.
it's good to reminisce on friends and the times we've had them on.
It's good to have friends in these
It
times.
is good to have friends.
And
That's the key right there. Yeah.
especially in these crazy times. But one friend I feel like we've made spiritually is our late great friend Sir Sean Connery. So we're covering another film in his massive collection of films through his career. Today we're covering 1958's Another Time, Another Place.
Good Lord, you are great at segues.
I try, man. It's many years of podcasting and schmodcasting.
Oh, you've been on Kevin Smith's podcast?
I wish.
One day. You know what? Kevin Smith, out there, come on to our podcast and talk about a Sean Connery film that you enjoy.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if you...
Any film. It doesn't have to be one that's still left. It can be any of the Sean Connery films. If anything.
Yeah,
come on and talk Sean Connery with us.
When we've mentioned
and
him
Mark
before...
Bernardin.
Oh, Mark's the best. And we've mentioned Kevin Smith with Connery because we said he looked... Connery in Great Train Robbery looks a lot like Kevin Smith. Just the facial hair. It's something about his face. I'm like, he looks like Kevin Smith's really funny.
Kevin Smith now.
Like post smoking weed and losing all that weight, and post heart attack, Kevin Smith.
Also, I'm sorry that I bring up Kevin Smith's name as soon as I fire up a joint and he's just stopped smoking weed. I'm sorry, Kevin Smith. I won't smoke weed around you.
It won't offend him. He still sells it. He still has this big company. You know what I mean?
True.
So just because he's away from it doesn't mean he's not going to be away from it. You know what I mean? But any hoosers, yoga hosers. Another time, another place. We're jumping into the 50s today. I'm kind of excited to talk about this movie. I don't know about you, Dylan. I'm kind of excited to talk about this movie.
I am also very excited to talk about this movie, this 1958 British melodrama directed by Lewis Allen, starring Lana Turner, Barry Sullivan, and introducing Sean Connery.
Introducing. It's a great way to put it, I think.
Yeah, that my first note is rocket ? And then my second note is introducing ! So it went from uncertainty to delight. Back to tension.
Oh man, this movie has a lot of tension in it, man.
Oh yeah.
We kind of talked about it before we started recording. We have Valentine's Day coming up. This is technically
a fitting Valentine's Day
Yeah,
episode.
this is like our Valentine's Day episode, I guess, because
The poster is literally pink.
Yeah, and it was.
It looks like a Valentine's Day card.
Yeah.
Let me share that screen with you. Here, you see the poster.
let's
Doesn't
see
that look
the
like
actual-
a card you'd buy your loved one on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, I kind of want to make that.
Even in another time, another place, I would still love you.
Yeah, I kind of want to make that the official Connery Curious Valentine's Day card, I think.
Ooh, I like it.
That might be our Valentine's Day card. That's beautiful.
But we make two versions, and both of us replace Lana Turner.
Yeah. Yes, there we go.
So one with you, one with me. So send them out to people.
Random people just walking down neighborhoods, putting them in people's mailboxes.
And they're like, does he want me to be his Valentine? I don't understand.
I don't understand this.
You know what? The pink lighting, that works. Here we go. Just trying to decide which color lighting to go with. And
there you go. Our Valentine's Day episode. Tremendous. Exactly. Yeah. So before we get into it, we'll talk about the usual mumbo jumbo of ratings and reviews. Not like a bazillion reviews here, but
There's not a lot of information about this film, really.
yeah, we don't have a tomato meter for it, but we do have an audience score of 35%, which, I mean, I don't feel like I agree with.
No, I disagree with that as well.
Like, I
We'll get
understand.
into that in our ratings for sure.
Yeah, because I understand it's kind of like it's like your basic paint by numbers 50s melodramatic film. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I enjoed the sort of twists and turns. I watched.
It wasn't paint by numbers for me.
It was.
It was anything but.
At first you think it's like, oh, I love you, and I'm like, this is the whole film. And I watched this with my wife.
And then it turns into we love you.
Oh yes, and then it's insane. But yeah, so I watched this with my wife, and at first she was kind of like, oh, this is gonna be so fucking cheesy, because they're all like, you know, making out on the couch, like, I love you. No, I love you. No, I love you. I'm like, she's like, this is gonna be a whole movie. I'm like,
the size of my hand.
and I'm like, just give it a chance. And by the end, she was like into it. She's like, okay, now I'm ready for this this crazy ending, which we'll get into the whole hullabaloo in a minute.
If she had a problem that it was cheesy, you should have said, it's Valentine's Day. Everyone has cheese on Valentine's Day.
True.
Cheese and chocolate. Yeah.
Is cheese a thing? I know chocolate.
I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up. Nicole and I really like cheese. So if we're going to have I feel like if you're going to give somebody like nice things on Valentine's Day, you'd get like a nice charcuterie board.
I do like a good charcuterie board.
Yeah.
They're good. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I say wine and cheese, I suppose, is nice for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, there we go.
Wine and cheese.
Yeah.
But
Shout out to East Side Cheese. Nicole has been working there occasionally. And
what's the name of the place?
East Side Cheese. Hold on, I'm going to pull up their charcuterie board.
East Side Cheese. Is that in Providence?
Yes. East Side Cheese and Provisions. Forgive me. Let me share that. Look at these beautiful cheese boards.
Oh. Ooh. Ooh. That's nice. Gracious.
With the gherkins. So one day Nicole worked there and her whole job was just putting together these boards.
Really? Oh man, what a like, it's art. It's really art.
Right.
Getting it all together, that you have like a template and you kind of like have to like fill them in with the things, or you kind of freestyle it.
She must have.
Like, you gotta have like a map or something to make it look just like that. You know,
At least
a
a picture reference.
Yeah, like, look at that. That's like,
we'll have to get her on here to talk about it.
yeah. Let's talk about her what would you call it, charcuterie?
Her boarding.
Her boarding.
Her cheese boarding.
Her cheese boarding.
Whoa!
Just surfing on a wave of nacho cheese.
I was getting way too into that. Forgive me.
Yeah, that was nice. But okay, so let's get to another time, another place, at a time now. I don't want to talk about another time. I want to talk about it now.
Well, in another time, another place, Mario, I'd be talking about this movie. But right now, cheese boards.
Cheese boards. Look at cheese boards. Curious.
You don't need to be a cheese whiz to know that cheese boards
Whoa!
are worth talking about. Okay.
Tremendous.
Exactly. All right, another time, another place. I really liked this movie, Mario. Did you?
I really did. Yeah.
I really did too.
Yeah, I didn't think I was.
Neither did I.
But I was like, I think that's further proof that you shouldn't judge a film by its like ratings, because
or its cover, quote unquote, like, or its description. Like, yeah, it's because all we got was this poster and a British melodrama film starring Lana Turner. Like, we barely got a summary, I think, because we were just going by Wikipedia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's nice. It's a quick movie, hour 30. You know, it's
hour 38.
It all it needed. I didn't feel like I needed more. I didn't feel like I needed less. I think it was like straight to the point. Good ending was a little bit of an awkward step, maybe. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I agree.
But it worked. I was kind of like, oh, we got some like resolution, but like maybe a little more would have
maybe a little
helped.
Roger Moore.
Just
a very short Roger Moore.
He should have been at the train station. He's passing out tickets.
Like Sir Brian or King Brian, excuse me, King Brian. He's little.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
He's just standing there.
Tickets.
Tickets, please. All right, so let's get into the plot. Plot is really quick. Just 2 paragraphs. We could probably just read those 2 and just talk about the movie because it's like...
Indeed. Also, real quick, Mario, I was at the gym earlier.
Yep.
And I found that listening to podcasts at the gym is actually better for me to get a better workout because music will like dictate my energy, whereas podcasts are just kind of... There's no podcast that's like, yeah, you got to work out. I don't know, unless there is.
Joe Rogan podcast, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. I haven't listened to Rogan in years.
It depends on the guest. I'll jump in.
If he has Stanhope on, I'll listen to that.
If he has Joey Diaz on, I'll listen because it's going to be just buffoonery and crazy stories.
Anyway, so I was at the gym. I was about to say I was at the podcast listening to the gym. And I was searching through Spotify podcasts. And I only searched through Spotify. I didn't do Apple Podcasts, so I should have. And I searched for Another Time, Another Place, Sean Connery. Just to see if anybody else had ever done a podcast about this film. I found one. And it was a half-hour podcast. And it's split with another film. I feel like I should shout it out because I've brought it up, so it's only right to do that,
Of course, fellow Connery podcast, we love you.
So it doesn't seem to be exclusively a Sean Connery podcast. They've got this is episode 17, and some of the episodes earlier are John Steinbeck, Lincoln, Titanic, Hitchcock, Billy Wilder. You know what I mean? Gone with the Wind, Fred Astaire, and Ginger Rogers. So it's pretty wide. So this podcast is called When Movies Were Good.
Ooh.
And this episode is only 33 minutes long. And it covers Another Time, Another Place, and Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Oh.
But I only got about 10 minutes in before they started discussing Another Time, Another Place, and I had to stop because I'm like, I don't want this to influence my conversation. You know what I mean? But I'm looking forward to listening to that. So shout out to the podcast When Movies Were Good. So.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I just thought that was worth noting. That was literally the only thing I could find in terms of podcasts about this film. So. Anyway, all right, now we will get into it.
Let's do it.
Another Time, Another Place, 1958 British melodrama, directed by Lewis Allen. Okay. An American reporter, Sarah Scott, played by Lana Turner, is working in London during the last year of the Second World War and begins an affair with a British reporter named Mark Trevor, played by introducing Sean Connery. Sarah is conflicted on whether to marry her rich American boss, Carter Reynolds, played by Barry Sullivan, or the charming young reporter she is having an affair with. Finally, she chooses Mark, only to find out that he is married and has a son back in his hometown. The two separate shortly thereafter, then decide to stay together and work out their problems. I think let's start there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
because then the twists start coming. Because that's the first twist is that he's married. You know that she's cheating, but you don't know that he's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you feel that there was a possibility that he was lying and he didn't have a wife and child to kind of like protect her in a way, or like just to kind of be like, you shouldn't be with me, you should be with him? Did you ever think that?
So I have a note here. Oh, we first see him at 212. That's when we first see him.
I got that as well. Yep.
Okay, I have a note that says he's awfully cool to learn that she's married. Because you find out in that scene on the couch when they're, exchanging love talk, and he's telling her about about his hometown. That's when she says, like, "Oh, my boss helped me build my career, and then he proposed to me several times, and after, the fifth time or whatever, I said yes, and so I'm married." And that's our revelation that she's married. And he just kind of plays it real cool, like he's not shocked or offended or anything. So I took note of that. And then that's when he tells her, like when he's trying to break it off the next day that they see each other, or the next date, whatever. That's when he's trying to break it off, and that's when he says, "I have a family, a wife and a kid." She's like, "Do you even love her anymore?" He's like, "I don't know." Which is tense, but also, like, he's been a reporter in the war for however many years, and he hasn't seen them. I don't know. So I think they both should have just been honest in their situations right from the get-go. I feel like it was, to be honest, I'd kind of take it as, okay, so the film is based on, I'm just taking this right from Wikipedia, the film is based on Lenore J. Coffey's 1955 novel, Weep No More. And a quick side note, my mother's maiden name is Coffey, Coffey. That's my family, my mother's family's name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Lenore J. Coffey here is spelled Coffee. Anyway, so my thought being, if this is based on a 1955 book, it's not really too far away from the time that it was made. So it's rooted in the mentality of the times before it. It's not really, I don't know. So I'm thinking, this is super long-winded, but I'm thinking that maybe because Connery is playing a man in 1945, maybe he's just kind of a scumbag and just doesn't tell that he has a wife and kid. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they're both flawed characters for sure, but maybe he's a scumbag. Like, he's an excellent reporter, but maybe he's just not nice. I don't know.
Yeah,
but they're both not nice. I don't like her either. She's a quite a problematic character.
Absolutely.
So everyone in this movie is kind of problematic characters, except for, actually, you know what? The kid. The kid is the only non-problematic character.
I love the kid. The kid is hilarious.
And Kay and Brian. They're the only non-problematic characters in this film.
Yeah.
Like, everyone else their morals are so twisted, Like, what, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about Carter Reynolds. He's like,
Carter was interesting because you talk about, like, when you started that point of, like, just not caring. And I just think him putting two and two together that, Sarah was, hitting it off with Mark while he was gone doing his thing in New York or whatever.
He's super clever and quick.
He's super clever and quick, but this also, like, I hate to bring it down this road, but didn't you for a second think that Carter was going to, like, hit her or something, or like?
Yeah, I was afraid
out?
that was going to happen. I'm so glad that it didn't.
Yeah, and
he's very reasonably tempered.
He's just like, we're just going to, fly you out to wherever, and that was it, and it was kind of like very calm about it. Even when he goes down there, I'm kind of jumping around, but when he goes down
to get her.
that to the house, it's even very calm there, because the whole thing, once we find out that, you know, she's going down there to see the house, but didn't mean to go in, you know, the kid kind of sucked her in.
Should we just cover the rest of the story?
Yeah, because there's a lot I want to talk about.
Yeah, let's just do that. Okay. So, as the war in Europe is ending, Mark is killed in a plane crash. Twist! Dead Connery. Pretty quick in this movie.
Crazy.
I didn't write at what time that happened, but he's only in it for about, what, 25, 30 minutes
hour,
maybe?
I think half hour, I feel.
Yeah. He's kind of killed off by the end of the first third. Anyway, okay. So Mark is killed in a plane crash, sending Sarah into mourning and into a mental sanatorium for a few months. After her release, Carter convinces her to catch a ship back to New York and work for him. So she already does work for him, so I guess continue working for him. However, before her departure, she goes to Trevor's very scenic seaside hometown in Cornwall and lives for a time with his young widow, Kay, played by Glynis Johns.
Rest in peace.
Is she passed away?
I think she just passed away.
Oh, my God. Yeah, last month.
Yeah.
Wow. She was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I said 100 years old, I believe she died, right? 100?
Wow.
And she was tremendous. Obviously, I'll always know her as the mom from Mary Poppins.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She's the one with the women's rights and all that. She had the big sash, and she would dance around and stuff. Tremendous. She was tremendous. I was shocked. I was both shocked she died, but also shocked that she was still alive. I was like, she was killing it.
This Wikipedia page is insane. I've got some reading to do, friend.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I did not do a lot of, as usual, I didn't do a lot of prior reading beforehand on this podcast. Okay. Wow. All right, and lives for a time with his young widow Kay and son as she works to fashion Mark's war reporting into a book. She is conflicted about telling Kay the truth about her relationship with Mark, but finally does so, causing Kay to emotionally break down and order Sarah to leave. However, she makes amends with Sarah at the station. Okay, that's the whole movie.
All right, now that we have that out, I can go back to my point.
Yeah, go to your point. I'm sorry about that.
Just how calm, cool, and collected Carter was, learning that this was happening and still going down there after is still calm and collected. It was insane to me. Because you expect somebody, especially in that time period, to just kind of lash out and attack and just it's like, how could you do this to me? Blah blah. It's very reasonable, and it's like and
why,
they're
Lisa? Why?
Yeah, and they're not.
Everybody
married.
betrayed me.
Yeah, they're. What was I gonna say?
I'm sorry. No, Carter is very calm and collected. I take back my earlier statement. The only two more morally twisted characters might be Lana Turner and Sean Connery.
Yeah,
in this because everyone else is. Carter is so calm through the whole thing. Even when he's mad, he's calm.
Yeah,
and as you were saying, I'm so glad that he didn't get violent because nobody gets violent in this movie. There's no real violence. There's none of the typical
there's no real fist fighting. There's no action. Even the beginning, we have that tense scene of them trying to defuse the bomb. That's there.
Okay. All right. So if we're working through the movie, that scene is so good. That is such a good way to start a movie. Defusing a bomb.
Yeah.
And then the rain comes down, and it looks so uncomfortable and so miserable. Actually, my third note is, don't help shovel, we're good. But then you realize that that's the dude that's going to cut the wires. He can't be physically exhausted.
Yeah.
He's got to focus on cutting the right wires
And
not
honestly,
blowing the thing up.
it's a setup for the whole movie because I feel like the whole movie we're trying to like defuse a bomb. We're trying to like get out of this situation where like every time, like no matter what is going down with Sarah, like, you know, you would think someone could out her. Frickin' Carter, the fiance, is still keeping kayfabe. Sorry, wrestling terms. Still keeping the
They're married.
secret. No, they're not married yet. Because
they are.
No, because the whole thing was Sarah said
whether to marry her. I'm sorry.
yeah, because
whether to.
because remember Sarah said like she was going to propose to Mark. That was the whole thing. But the day she was going to do it was the day that he
She
spilled the
dumped him.
beans and all that, you know, and all that. So, but the fiance. And then who's the guy that was down at the Survivor? Was that Brian?
No, Alan.
Alan.
Is Mark's friend, and he's friends with Mark and Kay.
Like no matter what, like they're still keeping the secret from Kay, and they're not like saying a thing, and even till the end because Kay is the one that figures it out on her own. Like no matter what, nobody spilled the beans, but she put two and two together. And then when she finally comes back to the house and is like crying to Sarah, saying like, "Oh, he left me for another girl in London," blah 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 blah. It's like, what was she like? What did I do wrong? Which broke my heart. You know, it's like,
God.
It's like, what did she have that I don't? Basically, and then the girl who it actually is staring her in the face in her living room has been hanging out at her house for like weeks or whatever,
Eating her food,
taking care of her kid, doing whatever. And I'm like, it's just such a crazy story because again, you're waiting for that bomb to blow up the entire movie. You're waiting for them to like spill the beans. What's going to happen? I thought like Sarah was going to like maybe take her own life at some point when we get that shot.
Jesus Christ.
Of the I know Connery kind of describes
with the
waves.
cliffs. Yeah.
We
I
keep
have a
seeing
note
the
about
cliffs.
the
I'm
cliffs.
like, is that going to be like what ends this movie? And then ends up, no, it's fine. Everyone comes out it's alive except for Sean Connery.
Yeah.
And the select few others that were on the plane with him. But yeah, it was just like you did not know where this was going to go at some points. You know, it's just like what's going to happen next. How are we going to get out of the situation? And we'll get to the end in a few. But like, yeah, the way it ends, I'm kind of like, just want a little extra more. That kind of hug, and I like. You know, can you bring back a picture of the Empire State Building for my son? Because like that was a whole story beat in the beginning. Because he's like his father. He wants to build big buildings and like have big dreams and stuff
I'd
like
love
that.
some pictures of the canal for the children.
Well, he did say he wants some pictures of canals for the children. So, oh, Mr. Kid.
Wid.
Mr. Kid. How thoughtful, Mr. Kid. I like how he says kid. But yeah, it's for a lady. But yeah, it's a roller coaster of emotions in this movie.
Yeah, it's you are very accurate about how that first scene is a metaphor for the plot as a whole. And like, okay, once they finish digging, then it's like, okay, we're one step in. We're getting there. We're getting there. Rain.
4 wires, 4 people. Sarah, Carter, Mark, and Kay. Those are the 4 wires that they're snipping through, man.
Wow.
This movie's deep.
Alan is the guy who has to snip them all.
He's sniffing the wires, man. It's crazy. It's insane. Man, we talk about like remakes a lot. If they were to remake
I'd love
this,
a remake
man,
of this.
I want to see this in more detail and like more, tense. But like, but don't change it. Like, don't make people hitting each other. You know, I like how this was more of like this movie was a thinker, Dylan. It was a thinker. It really got you thinking. What's going to happen next? And I always like to try to, we talked about Argyle a few minutes ago. How you didn't even see it, and you already got the plot, down pat.
That's a sign of not a great plot, I guess, right? If I can guess it.
I suppose, yeah. But this, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen next. Again, I'm like, I always think the worst. I'm like, Carter's gonna like kill Sarah. Sarah's gonna kill herself. Kay's gonna kill her. I'm like, what's gonna happen? Something tragic is gonna happen. But it ends up ending kind of like chill.
Kay and Brian might be the most sympathetic characters we've seen on this podcast.
Kay and Brian.
Yes, I feel so much for those two. Okay, that scene at dinner when they all toast and Kay says to Sarah, "Oh my God," that broke, and all three of them are just like, yep, I guess so.
How much did you love that one of the biggest characters in this movie was Sean Connery's IMDb profile picture?
Me too.
Because like the first scene when she's sitting at that table and you see it behind her, I'm like, I see that picture every single week because I always have his IMDb page open.
I thought it was on Wikipedia, but it's not. No, you are right. It is IMDb.
His IMDb picture is the photo they used, which I thought was great because they also have a nice the picture of Kay as well next to it, and it looks like they just took the picture the same day. But you know,
well, so all right, when you click on the picture in IMDb, it says Sean Connery in Another Time, Another Place. But wouldn't it be so funny if the set designer in 1958 was like, "Hey, you know what? Go to IMDb and print me out Sean Connery's profile picture."
Oh, interesting. Was this the only because this was used? I feel like this has been used in other movies with him.
Which ones? Which ones would it have been in?
I was gonna say,
Finding Forrester.
Finding Forrester, we see it. Yeah, that's what it is. We see that in like his book or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
because he wrote it when he was young.
Yeah, so we use it there, and I gotta rewatch. No, they use a different picture for Indy because the new one.
That's a nice picture. They'd like.
Yeah,
they staged that and then had somebody go in and retouch it.
I kind of want a framed picture of this now to put on my desk, like that, and that's like we had the conversation before with Dr. No. Where like this could be a picture of my grandfather. I could just put this like on like where all the other pictures of my grandparents are, and it's like people would be like, "Oh yeah, there's Grandpa." You know, they would never ask any questions. You know what I mean?
When we do our live event, we're gonna have a little coffee table. We're gonna have two chairs and a coffee table, and on that table will be the pitchers of water, and then that picture of Sean Connery framed.
Tremendous. Yeah, I love that picture so much. So yeah, I'm glad. It was nice to see that because there's no other pictures of him anywhere else.
Every now and then we just turn and just touch it. Sorry. They never address the scene where it gets broken, where Lana Turner drops it. Well, they do. They address it
at the end. But they said they're like, "Oh, you knocked it over. You were holding it, looking at it."
Yeah, but it was like months later. It should have. I would have loved to. I was in my brain. I was waiting for the next morning. You know what I mean? For her to be like, she's gone missing, and a picture was smashed. Like nothing was damaged, nothing was stolen, except the picture of my husband.
Well, they found her knocked out. Maybe she assumed she was just like a little fucked up and like.
I'm guessing she fainted by those cliffs. That's what I was thinking. She went to the cliffs because she was gonna jump. Is that when? That's when she runs out, right?
No. She runs down to like an alley. She's like in there's like a bunch of nets and stuff, and she like just kind of passes out there.
Yes.
But yeah, right there, I was kind of like, what's gonna happen here? You know, I'm like, it's too early in the movie. Like,
she can't die too.
Yeah, right. I'm like, who else do we have in this movie? I was already shocked that we lost Connery so early. Like, I did not expect that, because I was like thinking he'd be kind of like the forefront of the film. He is. He's the most important character of the movie. The whole thing's surrounded by him.
His ghost, his specter haunts the rest of the film.
It does. It does. And I appreciate that they didn't like...
Which bonds the character together.
Bonds the character together. But yeah, I appreciate that. But I think it made it more effective. Like, filmmakers today would have like had him in a bunch of like, Harrison Ford Han Solo moments where he just showed up as a ghost and, hey kid, you know what I mean? Like, I like that
you must avenge my death.
I like that he's dead the whole movie and we never see him again, but you can feel his presence the whole movie.
Your husband Carter blew up the plane.
What a twist that would have been. Oh man, what a twist that would have been. No
avenge
tickets.
Me!
Avenge me! That's Willem Dafoe. But yeah.
That's who I would cast as Carter.
Okay, let's have some fun. Let's recast this movie.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
So if I'm going with Willem Dafoe as Carter Reynolds because he's older. He's got gravitas already. You know what I mean? But he also can play calm and cool very well, and I like to see him do that. Like, I want to see him play caring and not sinister in any way. Mm-hmm. But just really like a busy guy. I want to see him as Norman Osborn with a heart. You know what I mean? Because that seems like to be what Carter Reynolds is. You know what I mean? He's a very successful businessman that's been flying around the whole world during this war and doesn't even have time for his fiance. And anyways, but he doesn't have time for her, but he has sympathy and empathy for her. In the Lana Turner role. Honestly, you were talking about Madam Web earlier. Dakota Johnson.
Not the route I was going to go down, but I could see that.
I realize that there's an age split there, but okay, if we're not, you know what? If we're not going with that, Cate Blanchett.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just keep her British. She doesn't have to do American. Okay, so there's my Carter and Sarah. Who are your Carter and Sarah? Or you anyone you can think of that to recast it as?
Let's see. Hold on, I'm just trying to pull up some notes. I immediately thought for Kay, I would have had Emily Blunt.
Ooh,
because one thing that like this is not me trying to shit on Lana Turner at all.
Wait, for Kay or for Sarah? Lana Turner plays Sarah.
I know, yeah, I'm getting to the point.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not shitting on Lana Turner at all.
Okay.
But the reveal, I'm glad I didn't look at the cast list for this because I was very excited to see Glynis Johns show up. I was like, oh man, look at her. That's so cool to see her and something else. But you look at her, she's beautiful. And it always drives me insane, like people cheating when you have someone lovely like that at home. And she seemed like she's a lovely mom and the kid was great. You know what I mean? So that would be like, I think seeing someone like Emily Blunt would be like that same kind of feeling where it's like, oh my God, she's gorgeous.
How do you cheat on
and like
on her?
You have this waiting for your home? Come on now.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I was also thinking for Sarah, of Margot Robbie. Because Margot Robbie just kills everything when it comes to period pieces and whatnot. So I was thinking, I have those two in there. Carter, I was thinking of like possibly John Hamm, but in the same vein, who's the guy who played Howard Stark and he was also in Mad Men?
Oh, John Slattery.
Him maybe. Yeah. I think he would fit that.
Yeah.
He would fit that really well.
Carter, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be perfect. And when we're talking about Argyle, I think Mark should be Henry Cavill. Have him show up for a half hour, that's fine. It's still big. It's still bringing in people to see the movie, and I think Henry Cavill has that kind of swagger because obviously,
Okay. He would have to play it as like not muscular.
Yeah,
He would have to be as reserved as possible.
Yeah, he's not like the Hulk, when he puts a suit on or something. And he's like, hell, if we want to go back to my original casting of Carter, put John Hamm in there. John Hamm.
Oh, you know what? I like John Hamm more than Henry Cavill.
John Hamm, I'm trying to think of ages. That's why, because Cavill's up there too. He's like 40, right? How old is John Hamm?
Okay. All right. Now, based on my recasting that I just did, I'm gonna kind of change up the plot of this movie. Okay. Not really. Keeping the plot the same, but I'm adding this little element to it. So instead of Lana Turner as Sarah Scott, I'm gonna have Cate Blanchett. So how old is Cate Blanchett now? Cate Blanchett is 54, and how old is Willem Dafoe?
He's got to be like 60 or 70, right?
68. Okay,
68.
So that's enough of an age difference between them that he could be a mentor figure. Cate Blanchett is our lead reporter. However, because they're a little bit older, I'm going to cast Mark younger. So she's having an affair with a younger man.
Ooh.
And then finds out everything. And then not only is she going to become integrated with Mark's family, but now she has to be some kind of mentor figure. You know what I mean? Because they're younger. And so in the way that Carter is the mentor to her, she now has to be the mentor to this family. Like, in a way, you know what I mean? Like, oh, they're grieving through their loss. I'm grieving through this loss. I guess I must, rather than tell them, I will help them get through it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So if I'm going to cast younger, then you know what? I like Dakota Johnson as an actress, so I think I would put her as. Have I actually seen her in anything? I'm sorry.
The only thing I know of her in is
the 50 Shades.
the
movies,
50
right?
Shades. That's all I know of her.
Oh no, never mind. I haven't seen her in anything. I'm sorry.
Have I? Let me see.
Yeah, no, never mind. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Dakota Fanning. That's who I'm thinking of. I'm sorry.
Oh, Dakota Fanning's been in a ton, yeah. Yeah, what's she? Yeah, no offense, Dakota. Like, literally, you look at her. Oh, she's in The Social Network. I can't remember her there.
Dakota Johnson?
Oh, she was supposed to be Black Cat in the Amazing Spider-Man universe. She showed up in the second movie.
No, that was that was Rogue One girl.
Really?
Felicity Jones.
Oh, they look so alike.
You know what? All right, there we go. Felicity Jones. There's Kay Trevor.
Wow, they look a lot alike.
I'm gonna put Kay Trevor as Felicity Jones. Is Felicity Jones as Kay Trevor? Excuse me. So who's my Mark?
Ooh, you know who would be a good Mark?
Who?
Eddie Redmayne. He was Newt Scamander.
No.
I think so.
No, he's too weird. He's too weird.
He only comes off weird because of the Potter movies, like the Fantastic Beasts.
I don't know.
I think he could play
you need somebody handsome enough to attract somebody.
He's a handsome guy. I see him on 90. I see him on 95 every day. He's like the new spokesman for Omega watches. Funny enough, the watch of 007.
I guess he's kind of handsome.
Yeah. And Connery's like suave, but he's not like super suave. He's kind of like a little bit like nerdy. There's a little bit of a nerdy vibe to him. I think Eddie Redmayne would be great.
I don't know who's acting now.
Timothy Chalamet is in everything.
No, God, no. I don't know. I feel like you'd have to put somebody unknown in that role. You know what I mean? and that because they die halfway or 30 minutes in. So maybe it was introducing Sean Connery. So why not introducing some other actor that we don't know about yet?
I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, Johnny Depp died halfway the first half hour of Orient Express.
We're not making Johnny Depp our Mark
No,
Trevor.
I'm just saying Johnny Depp is a icon, and they killed him.
And you also think 2 years later, Psycho came out, where you had Janet Leigh, who was a big 1960 Psycho. You had Janet Leigh, who was a big star at the time, dying, less than halfway through the film, or halfway into the film, whatever, pretty early into the film.
Yeah.
For a major actress character. And then you got Scream, obviously doing the same thing with Drew Barrymore, who was a big star at the time. You kill her off in the first 15 minutes, So,
Yeah.
anyway. It's a fun little recast.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Hey.
what else do you got for notes? Because I feel like I'm dry here. I feel like I covered like all I wanted to cover for the most part. So I feel like we need to fill some time here.
I wrote mustachioed Bond actor at the bomb scene, the rocket scene. There was like an actor in the background. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. I feel like this actor, like I've seen him in a Bond movie before. I'm gonna try and pull up the exact. This guy, him, right here.
Oh,
To the farthest left.
I know who you think it is. Probably is the guy.
And he's in Man with the Golden Gun.
I'll just say Goldfinger. The guy at the beginning of Goldfinger gives him the gold bullion.
I'd have to punch in the clip, but I was thinking, he lives in Macau. The chap who made the bullet 007.
What the hell is Lazar?
Not what? Who? Portuguese, lives in Macau.
Chap who made the bullet 007.
Oh yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I was thinking, The guy who, like, shakes profusely.
That's right.
Remember what I'm talking about?
I'm trying to look at the extended cast here. What would he be considered? A friggin' journalist and airport card player, policeman in steel helmet.
Yeah, maybe policeman in steel helmet.
No, I don't think so. I think it would be
Airfield security guard, Jack Silk. Huh. RAF officer. Oh, huh. Anyway, I just thought it was worth noting.
Yeah, you never know with these guys, man, because like some of these movies, it's like I mean, geez, you look at this movie, and the main guy in the poster became James Bond. You know what I mean? Like, you never know where half these actors were starting, and then you see what's her face, Glynis Johns, later is in one of the most iconic Disney movies of all time, of Mary Poppins. So it's insane. I'm trying to think of what else she's been in.
The R.E. Sergeant is played by Bill Fraser, who is in Eye of the Needle, which is a book I've read, a World War II spy novel, which I also need to watch the movie. That is the movie. It's directed by Richard Marquand. It got him the job for Return of the Jedi.
Oh.
So, even though he didn't really direct that movie all that much. It was more George Lucas by all accounts. Anyway, so I can't see anything either. But I am looking. Oh, wait a second. Robin Bailey as Captain Barnes? No, never mind. Okay, so I'm looking through the cast here. We've got Jane Welsh as Jonesy. I do have a note that Jonesy's son dies in the war. No hug for grieving Jonesy. Just back to work. Lana Turner is this is when you said twisted morals. Like she just thinks she can get away with anything. She's like, my boss, who clearly has genuine feelings and empathy for me, and put me through school to get me a great job in his amazing newspaper company that is clearly successful, and I have a career as a writer, and I'm just sassy and traveling around the world and doing awesome things. And I can just take advantage of. You know what? I can just tell him to screw off and marry this Mark Trevor guy because he's hot shit. You know, and then so he acts relatively calm when he finds out that she's gonna. You know what I mean? Like when he finds out that she's with Carter. But her world ends when she finds out Mark is married. You know what I mean? It's like that subreddit, I'm the main character. You know what I mean? Like this is like a story about a woman who thinks everything revolves around her.
Yeah.
Slowly becoming like self-aware.
Alicia this is one of Alicia's better quotes for this movie, because she caught this better than me. She only knew Mark for like a month.
Yeah.
So when we get to the scene of her in like the nursing home, whatever you want to call it, facility, she's been there for several months. Yeah, sanitarium.
Yeah, she's mourning longer than she knew him.
Yeah, that's exactly what she said. So she is.
Which
so
nothing wrong with that,
about,
of course, by the way.
Yeah, but it's like she's been more fucked up about this than she's known the guy. And it's like one of those things, call me a piece of shit, call me whatever, but like I feel like I wouldn't have been. Thank you. I feel like I wouldn't be that emotional of that. Like you were that in love. Like it was just that just shows that she was very, very attached, very quickly.
And obviously, there's nothing wrong with mourning somebody longer than you've known them if they made that much of an impact on you. But I feel like maybe that like sanatorium stay is also her maybe reflect, because when she comes out she's a little bit less flighty in the sense like she still literally flights away from the ship that she has to take. She's like, I'm leaving to go to his hometown. But I don't know, maybe maybe she's being kept there against her will. We don't know because it is the 1950s. But two, maybe it's, time as introspection because she's like I'm so hurt, like, and, my husband or this man, my fiance, cares about me clearly, but maybe like I didn't show this empathy to Jonesy. Maybe that's the kind of like therapy she'd be getting in there. I don't know. Or maybe it'd just be like heavy sedation. It was the 40s, excuse me. So who knows? I don't know what point I'm trying to make here. It was interesting that they had her be in the hospital for so many months. It's like, no, I think it's 6 weeks, right?
I think it was months. Wasn't it months?
I think they said 6 weeks. I think the Wikipedia page says...
Oh, looking back now.
For a few months.
A few months?
I think the movie says 6 weeks.
I thought it said 6 months.
Shall we punch it in?
Let's
punch
it in.
Well, 6 weeks is a short time in this case.
Now let's do alternate things. I was right.
I was right. Looks like I'm awesome. And I'm just kidding. Oh, so I was right. Whatever. Anyway. So.
Fuck you, man.
Either way. Look, this is war. The podcast is over. So either way, more time was spent in the sanatorium than was spent in the relationship.
Yeah,
we brought up Titanic both this week and last week. How long do you think Rose was mourning Jack for? She knew him for 3 days.
82 years.
Exactly.
82 years. But I mean, at least she went on with her life.
84 years.
It was 84 years?
Yeah, 96 that movie came out. Right? 96 or 97?
Well, I'm trying to think of the end when she says, it's been 84. Is that the quote? It's been 84 years. Yeah, so.
80. I'm going to punch that in, too.
It's been 84 years. And I can still smell the fresh paint.
But at least like that was heartbreaking. But like at least Rose moved on
Yeah.
with her life. I feel like
Sarah's actively
did not. She literally went to the house that he lived in, and like moves in basically. And
well,
it's like,
I like how that's completely unexpected. Like, it wouldn't have happened if Brian wasn't right there. If the kid wasn't right there, and she talks to him for a split second, and then the mom says, "Oh, hey, Brian," or whatever.
Brian showed up like Batman. Like she looked at the house, turned around, he just appeared there. Like, I've never seen you here before. It's like, oh my god, where did he come from?
Brian, stop eating dirt. Sorry, mother.
That kid was adorable.
Oh my god, the dream. Oh my god, the dream. The nightmare he has where he wakes up and his dad won't answer him. Mario, I've had that dream.
Oh man,
I've had that dream since my dad died too. That was so heartbreaking. Like, I just kept hugging on him, on his arm, and he wouldn't answer me. What a heartbreaking scene. Like,
yeah, and it's kind of like, you know, she's kind of like, you'll never have that dream again. You'll be fine. Just go to bed. It's like, okay, that didn't help.
Yeah,
like,
you'll never have it again, ever.
Yeah,
and then she's also okay. That scene confused me because, one, she says he's not coming back. Why would you say that? You don't know what the mother has told the kid yet. Let the mother handle that.
Yeah,
But
I was kind of like under the impression that he didn't know, like, he was dead, but I think he knew.
And if he didn't, way to go, Sarah. What a, like, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's not your responsibility. But two, right after that, that's when she panics and calls Carter and be like, come pick me up and we're getting out of here. Like, why is that the trigger that makes you leave? You know, I don't know. But I don't even know. I don't. Yeah. I don't know what the point I was trying to make was. Because she's at the. They have a shop too. It's like a shop storefront or something, right? Is that what that looks like, or is that just a house with a storefront kind of
like there's a sign
wall
outside?
Yeah.
I forget what the detail was because that sign was like important for her to identify the house. I have to go back and listen to that whole kind of Connery scene of him describing his hometown because Alicia was the one that also caught. She's better at analyzing than I am, clearly. She should be doing this podcast. But she was like, you know, when they showed the scene of the waves crashing and the seagulls, because he described that. It's like, you know.
All day long you can hear the lonely sound of the gulls overhead and set your watch by the coming and going of the tides.
You've just jumped a dozen years.
Oh, the ones in Cornwall.
Uh-huh.
They weren't very exciting. I worked on the fishing boats and studied at night and lived in a cottage on Tregenna Hill.
The waves crash on the rocks and blah, blah, and the seagulls and all that stuff.
I suddenly remembered my Charlemagne.
Remember, homage be the rocks and the trees and the birds in the sky.
And she's like, what?
We're just going to cut that together now.
I suddenly remembered my Charlemagne. Let my armies be the rocks and the trees and the birds in the sky.
Like I was hoping that, like, I was thinking, like when she's looking out into the seagulls, we should have the audio play. The audio's playing in the background. Birds in the trees and the birds in the sky.
I'll put that together.
Beautiful. But yeah, so like, you know, those are just kind of like little triggers to, like, you know, find. But yeah, I wasn't sure what the sign outside was. What did the sign even say? Do you remember?
You know what? Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. Okay. Wow, he looks handsome.
His hair is awesome in this movie.
That's his. That looks like it's his hair.
That's the real McCoy.
Okay, here's the house. There we go. East Moorings, and it definitely looks like a kind of a storefront, but it's not.
Just a little, yeah, because it's like
East Moorings.
go back a little bit, like her walking up to the house, because even like that street is very interesting. Like right here, yeah, like it just kind of like a little shack, kind of connected to another building, but there's 2 floors. It's a big house. It looks like it looks like a storefront on the outside, but like you see like the building attached to it. It's definitely just a regular house. Maybe it was a shop at one point. Could have been a pub. Maybe it was
that
a pub.
jutted out door. The fact that the door is like right at the very front and the windows are kind of recessed, that like makes it feel like it's a storefront, kind of. You know?
Yeah, like a little pub. It was interesting. So like, yeah, so we got to go back and like analyze if he talked about that sign, because I guess that sign was what triggered that. Oh, this is the house. So,
and she wouldn't have gone in if she didn't get startled, like because she finds out, oh, this is Brian. That means this is Kay. What do I do? And she freezes. Kay takes that as, oh, this woman is about to be ill. You need to come. You need to come in and sit down. Come on. Let's get you some tea. And like it's all downhill from there. If she had just said something and gone like, oh, I was just admiring your home. Bye. It would have been over. You know what I mean?
Just kept going.
And then we wouldn't have had a movie.
Yeah, true.
But when Carter shows up at the airport, we get a still frame of the airport.
Oh, yep. Noticed that right away. I was like, okay, that's a picture.
I want to talk about this character, Jake, played by Sid James, who doesn't look like I've seen him in anything else. But what do you think of that character, Jake, that works with Sarah, that's kind of covering for her the whole time?
You were keeping me informed about her a month ago. You stopped. Is that the reason?
Mr. Reynolds, I told you this has nothing to do with my job here.
It has everything to do with it. What's his name?
Mark Trevor. He's a reporter for the BBC.
Jake, he looks very familiar. That was the one thing.
He knows it's Sid James. It doesn't look like he's in anything I've seen.
He's been in, let's see, Carrie McLeod, again, Doctor. A lot of Carrie movies.
Carry On.
Carry On Laughing, Carry On Dick, Carry On Christmas, Carry On Girls, Carry On Abroad.
Carry On Cleo, Carry On Cowboy. Oh, my Lord.
Oh, he's known for carrying it on, I guess. So I guess I don't recognize him.
No.
But yeah, I thought he was an interesting character. I was kind of like, I'm like, part of me was kind of like, why is everyone covering for this girl? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's kind of icky.
Yeah, her actions are very. They're not morally sound a lot of the times. Like, why is
like maybe they don't want to
just
be
barely calling her out on her shit? You know what I mean? Just
like
barely.
Like I'm thinking maybe they don't want to like call her out on her shit. Maybe they don't want to get in trouble with Carter because Carter's kind of like. Do they like
But he does
Carter?
anyway because Carter's like, why didn't you tell me about that?
Yeah. What was his response? I forget.
Oh, he's like, I want to hang myself or something. He's like, oh, you'll wish you did. Something along those lines.
No, I remember what he says, I'm going to hang myself. It's like, oh, he's like, call me when you do, I want to watch. Or something.
Yes.
I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Burn.
Oh, man.
Okay, so there's melodrama music. When she panics and runs down the street, that music swells up and it's insanely, you know what I mean? Like violent, heavy violins that just stirring up a lot of emotion. And it's like, holy cow movie. I don't know. I'm doing a poor job of describing it.
It gets very intense, but it doesn't really match what's happening on screen. Or it's like you're expecting a bomb to go off or like a car chase to start, but it's just kind of like her grasping onto a wall or something. You know what I mean? It was never like.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the music, but yeah, some of it was very like a little too intense for the scene. I felt.
Quite melodramatic, as it is a melodrama film.
Melodramatic. That's it.
Okay, yeah, my last two notes are, does Brian not know? And then, this is so mean to Kay. Like this whole thing is just so mean to her. She just needs closure, and it's actively being withheld from her.
I don't think it's
by
meant to be
multiple
mean.
people.
I don't think it's meant to be mean. I think it's just more of like a protection thing because, you know, she seemed to be like doing just fine, and you kind of don't want to, you know, mess that up for her. But yeah, you know, at the same time, you know, she gets that closure at the end. She finds out that, you know, scummy things kind of happened, but she's able to accept everything just because of, you know, what her and Sarah went through.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a blended family type situation.
Yeah.
You know?
Like they have now become it's like polyamory, but that polyamorous relationship starts after one of them is dead. You know what I mean? Like,
it's one of those things where it's like, you know, besides Alan, the only connection she has to Mark is through Sarah.
Yeah. And
You
let's
know?
talk about Alan for a second, played by Terrence Longdon.
Oh.
What do you think of his character? Like I like how friendly he is with Brian. He's like, "Now put the pin around here, not on my thumb." He's clearly a good. Like, did you think he was trying to move in on Kay?
No,
or do you think he was just protecting the family?
I really think that it felt genuine. You know, it's kind of like, I think it's equivalent of like, if you passed on, I'd just be there to like support Nicole if she needed it, but like not like move in, but like kind of it's like they just know, you know, I was very close to Dylan, and you know I care about him that much that I still want to make sure his loved ones are good. You know what I mean? So I felt genuine because you kind of think like, oh, he's taking her to the movies and stuff and all that, but not once did I feel like he was trying to move in at all. Because I think they would have leaned more into it if that was the case, but I think genuinely he was like trying to protect her. It reminded me in certain ways of kind of a different side of the spectrum, like of this movies, 50 First Dates. The Adam Sandler with Drew Barrymore, where she loses her memory, and every day's the same day, and the dad and the brother are trying to like keep that day. Every day they repaint the shed, they give her the same birthday gift as her birthday, and all that. It's like they just care so much about her. They want to make sure she's good no matter what reality she lives in. So Kay lived in that reality of like, yes, my husband passed away, but he was a good man. He loved me. And, you know, nobody wants to know that when you're like a loved one passed away that you found out all the shit went down. I had a similar experience. The person didn't pass away, but I was with somebody for many years who I loved very much. But when we broke it off, it was for a different reason. We just kind of mutually didn't want to be together anymore. But I found out a lot of dirt from mutual friends and family and whatnot of stuff that was going on over the 2 years of the 4 years we were together. And that really like hurt me. But a part of me like felt good, like Kay at the end of this movie, getting closure. But at the same time, a part of me kind of wishes I still lived in that reality where that wasn't true. You know? So I think that you have to draw a fine line of how much do you love somebody? Like, do you love them enough to tell them the truth, or do you love them in a way where you don't want to see them hurt, so you have to kind of fib and get around it? It's a weird line to cross because, you know, you want the best for that person, but you don't want to hurt them in the process. It's deep, man. And this movie, it's, you know, you could say it's about closure. It's about mourning, but it's also about like friendship in a way where it's like, you know, you have to like, you know, find out, you know, be a good friend, but like, what's defined as a good friend? It's like, how am I hurting this person by telling them the truth? Am I hurting them by keeping it from them? It's a very, very thin line, man. It's deep.
And I'm sure she didn't expect to fall.
7:33 p.m.
Did you hear that?
What was that?
That's my watch. Thank you, Siri. Okay. I'm sure she didn't expect to, like, for lack of a better term, fall in love with Kay and Brian. You know what I mean? Like, as a family. I'm sure she didn't expect to feel so deeply for them once she met them.
Is it Sarah you're talking about?
Yeah. Like, she obviously didn't expect to be invited into the house. And then I'm sure she didn't expect to be like, oh my God, these are like the nicest people. I really like spending time with them, and I want to spend more time with them.
And she wants to help.
This town is becoming my town. And she,
yeah, you know, and then the whole thing with the story, helping her write the story because she's a great writer and all that. It's like, man, because Sarah's also...
She's a writer.
Yeah, but like a part of it's like Sarah is also where she's going there originally to get closure for herself, but when she gets there, she's helping Kay get closure.
And her son.
And her son. So to both of them, I think that's why at the end Kay kind of like comes to her senses and goes after her, because she's kind of like, I understand what you're going through. I'm going through the same shit. I'm happy to have somebody to go through that with, because you think the kid seems like as smart as a whip, little Brian, but how much of a conversation can you have with a kid, you know, about this situation where you can kind of like
until that dream happens.
Yeah, the dream.
Then you
happens.
have to address it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying for Kay herself to help her feel better. Me and you are adults. We can talk about mourning. If you're talking about your dad, I can bounce off you and like help you with stuff. When I'm trying to bounce off a kid, he's really like, I just want to go play with my trucks or whatever. Like he isn't, like he cares, but he's like, he doesn't know how to process this.
It took a nightmare to elicit that like pure instinctual reaction where he does talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, is he coming back? Like that's the most he's talked about it, you know?
Yeah.
And it took something deeply traumatic in his sleep out of his control, like, to trigger that ability to even ask that question.
Yeah, like that jolted him. But I'm just saying, so I think between Kay and Sarah, like I said, it's like a blended family thing where it's like, you know, maybe, you know, we can kind of help each other out through the situation. And now they feel like a bond, there's a certain bond to it now. Now they're kind of like, as weird as it is, semi-polyamorous, where it's like we both kind of were with the same guy. And, you know, she learned a decent amount about him. Kay obviously knows everything about him. So, but they both felt the same thing for him. It's just crazy. There's so many layers to this movie. Fuck Rotten Tomatoes, 30-something%, dude. This is a good movie. This is a really good movie. This is like one I'll watch again just to kind of like, you know, get further details in. This movie really came out of nowhere for me, where I'm just thinking, you know, oh, another time, another place, move from the 50s, whatever. We'll see what happens, because every 50s or 60s movie is kind of like, you know, punching women in the face and, you know,
slapping them on their butt.
And explosions and everything. And this is just like an explosion of emotions where you're feeling so many things in this movie at the same time. Stress. I'm stressed out the second half of the movie because I never know again when that quote unquote bomb is going to go off. And like, when's this going to happen? Everyone knows what's going on, but Kay.
But poor Kay and Brian.
And so like everybody that's there, it's kind of like the worst like nightmare. If you're in that situation, where I doubt any of us me and you would be in that situation, but like the last thing you want is everyone that knows you were hooking up with this person is in the room with you and like found you and you're with the person that was with them. Like it's like the war. Everything that bad that could happen happened in this movie.
Or even like the most primal fear of it all on Kay's part is like it's terrifying. Like I can't say that it's never happened to either of us. Who knows? Like you're in a room with other people and all of those people dislike you for some reason but you don't know what it is, and they're not about to tell you. Or all three of them have something to tell you, or know something that you don't, and they can't tell you, and you're just the odd one out, and you don't know it. There's literally no way that you could know it, but everyone else in that room knows it, and it's like every single thing they say is just like creeping over. Like, I'm keeping this from you. What nice weather we're having today, right? Yeah, dinner is good. You know what I mean?
But then on top of that, when you initially find out the truth afterwards, that does something to your head. Kind of like going back to my story about my ex and everything that happened there. Because when I found that out, that's the one layer first. Boom. It's like, holy shit, she did this to me. Holy shit, why didn't this person tell me? Holy shit, why didn't this person, that person didn't tell me what's going on? Because it was the same situation. Now that I'm thinking about it, everyone knew but me about this situation that happened. That happened for 2 years. Everyone knew about it, and I was like, why would you keep that from me? But also, why would you tell me? You know, it's that fine line again of like, you know, do I want to know? Sure, I like to know because I have closure. You know, moving on now, like me and that person have closure because they approached me, apologized for the act, and we're good now. So it's fine now. But at the moment, your head goes through so many things. You feel like it's going to explode. But Kay seemed to kind of get over it quickly and just said, let me be the bigger person here and just say, hey, I forgive you. I'm sorry. And let's move on with this and get me, my son, a picture of the Empire fucking State Building.
She's got the highest morals of the whole crew of people. The whole cast. She is the most morally sound of everyone. Even Alan, who is like, his whole goal is to protect her. Well, he's keeping a secret. How is that protecting her? Like, you know, and as you said, like, once that comes out, I'm sure down the line she's going to be like, how do I trust Alan now? You know?
Yeah. You're like, who else do I trust? What else are they keeping from me?
I also really, really, really love that moment where Sarah wakes up on the couch to see Alan's face, and he just goes, that's just the small, she's huge wide eyes, and he just gives the smallest, nope, I didn't tell her, don't worry.
Yeah, that's conveyed completely. Like a great way to convey that. Like, you're good, you're clear.
Yeah. You're not good. None of us are good. We're still good. We've got to get out of this. Yeah. Just not right now. Your priority is drink some water.
Yeah, and just like leave. But no, you decide not to leave. And then this is what goes down, man. It's heavy.
This
man.
town is becoming my town. It's people, my people. Like, well, slow down. Been here 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's just like I grew up here. Like,
you're a tourist.
Oh man, but. Man, I feel like we covered this fucking film pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have any other notes?
I have one other thing. I didn't have it in my notes, but I looked it up right beforehand. So, did you notice in the title credits, we get, I don't know if you noticed, but in the title credits, we get song, Another Time, Another Place by Jay Livingston and Ray Evans. Yes, that is the link I sent you earlier in the Facebook chat there. So we've got a title track for this movie.
Let's go.
Did you hear it? I mean, do you want to take a minute to listen to it?
Yeah, I'll plug it in.
Yeah, let me.
I don't remember there being like.
It's less than 3 minutes. You want to just listen to it and we'll come back?
Oh, let's do this.
Another time, another place, we'll be together again. This kiss, this same embrace, will be more wonderful than.
Was this perhaps in the credits? I don't remember this.
I don't recall either. I
maybe
can can skim back through and maybe punch in later as to maybe a scene where it pops in, but I don't recall it in the movie.
No,
do
not
you?
at all. I would have remembered that because that's very memorable.
It also, to go back to last episode, doesn't it sound like a piece of music that you'd hear in Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul?
Yeah.
Like as you shuffle through Hector Salamanca's nursing home or something.
Oh yeah, or like the end credits. They always had like a song play at the end credits.
Or
specifically the last episode, My Baby Blue, whatever.
Oh
My
yeah,
Baby Blue.
My Baby Blue, or Crystal Blue Persuasion.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Like something of like Saul just putting money away. Another time, another place.
I wasn't Breaking Bad. It was El Camino. That song that he sings when he's driving. It's a really good song too. Oh, what's the name of it? It'll come to me. We'll have to punch it in. I'll find it later. That's gonna bother me. It's a really good
Cut
song.
to Jesse Pinkman. 7 a.m. waking up in the morning. Gotta be fresh. Gotta go downstairs. Gotta have my bowl. Gotta have cereal. I see. Oh, the cops.
Cops, bitch. Oh, that's gonna bother me.
Share the night together.
Sharing the night together. I love that song, man.
I'm feeling kinda lonely too, if you don't mind. Can I sit down here beside you?
Who is that by?
Dr. Hook. I love
Dr.
that
Hook.
shit.
There we go. Yeah, that was a good tune.
It's a great. So yeah. But it reminds me of that kind of like, being inside of like a diner or something, and something's about to go down, and the credits hit. Like, yeah. I love it, man. Yeah, I don't remember this being in the movie, but that would have been a nice little. Make it like a Bond movie where, like, as he cuts the final thing and says, "I should probably do that again." I'm gonna need more practice.
Another time, another place. I get that.
But no, as soon as he says, "Well, I'm gonna need more practice doing that," and they'll cut to the theme song. That's your cold open for the movie. That would be perfect. And also in my head, speaking of the gracious gift you got me for Christmas of the poster for
Wrong is Right.
Wrong is Right, or in
The
some
Man
cases,
with the Deadly
the
Lens.
Man with the Deadly Lens.
Is that the one I got? Was it The Man with the Deadly
Yeah,
Lens?
it has the gun barrel with the I gotta get that framed. I'm looking for a frame for it. In my head, I wanted to believe that this is the same character as a young, starting off news reporter.
He faked his death.
And he faked his death, and he's still out there reporting. He grew a mustache.
Mike Trevor as Patrick Hale.
Yeah, Patrick
oh,
Hale.
my Lord.
And he grew a mustache.
And after that, what was the one where he became a good man in Africa? Is that? No. Didn't we have a theory that
Cuba, I think, was connected, right? Cuba's connected to that.
Thank you. I'm sorry. So anyway, this Another Time, Another Place song, there's another song for us to play.
There we go. Put it on the list.
On our Connery Curious live set list.
There it is.
It seems like it's a pretty easy tune to learn.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. 50s bop.
So, that's my last thing to really bring attention to.
Yeah, I think that's it with me. I kind of covered all my feelings. we kind of opened up some emotional wounds today. And I didn't think I would be opening.
Do you want me to cut any of that out, by the way?
No, keep it all in, man. Okay. I think the Connery Curious
I want her to hear it.
Oh, yeah. She's heard it enough. I doubt she listens to this podcast.
What if she does?
Then cool. I think she knows. You know what I mean? At this point, it's like, whatever.
Talking about people who listen to this podcast, I was at the grocery store earlier, and the checkout guy, his name was Mario. And I said, I'm about to go do a podcast with a guy named Mario. He said, really, what's the podcast? I said, Connery Curious. He's like, I wish I had a business card or something to give you. He's like,
we should really make some business cards.
We should. We need to make some stickers and some business cards.
Yeah.
To, you know what? You want to just talk about it now?
Yeah, and then we'll move on to our ratings.
Yeah, let's do that. So before we cover our ratings, folks, we mentioned it before, but let's talk about it a little more in depth here now. we have a Patreon page.
Patreon.
And there are 3 tiers of membership, and I will cover them now. We've got our $1 a month tier to become a Curious Connery, and you gain access to all past and future mini episodes. So we've done some mini episodes in the past of DVD box sets, film rankings, film brackets, tier lists, all that good stuff. We did another one too. I can't remember.
Brackets, tier lists, and
the DVD box set.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
There's been a few others, but there's more. There's at least 5 there already. But we put them behind that Patreon paywall. So for $1 a month, you can be a Curious Connery and gain access to all past and future mini episodes. Now, just want to clarify that everyone out there is a Curious Connery if you're listening to this podcast. But to be a Patreon member, that is the $1 tier. Then we've got the $5 tier to be a very Curious Connery.
Ooh, very curious.
Yes. And you gain access to all past and future mini episodes. You also get movie commentaries, and you're going to get episodes 1 week early.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And then
the kind of commentary is happening. Our first one, won't say what it is yet. Do people know what it is? Probably not. But
should we just say it?
No, let's tease them. Let's tease them. Let's not tell them what it is.
Well,
yet.
do we give them? Let's drop a hint.
Sean Connery's in it.
Oh, what a good hint. It's a movie we've done already.
Yes.
It's one we did a while ago.
Yeah.
It's one that comes up often.
Yeah, we try.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Yeah. It's one of 2, and it's one of 2 movies because there's 2 movies we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
So it's one of those 2.
Yep. All right, and then we've got our 3rd and final tier. If you want to be one of the most Curious Connerys, for $10 a month, you can gain access to all past and future mini episodes, movie commentaries, the occasional unedited episode. Not every episode is going to be up there unedited, but the occasional one, as well as access to live streams, which we're going to do more of in the future, and all episodes 1 week early. You'll also get your name read out on the podcast.
Oh.
So maybe next week we'll start reading out some names.
Let's go.
So just want to let you all know that we have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/ConneryCurious.
And shout out to the few people who have been signing up so far. People who seem to have a couple of interests in our Patreon. So we're excited to be putting out some content for you guys to check out. We love doing this, and we want to make it grow some more. We're almost at the end of our kind of Connery era, too, with the films. We're kind of starting to break down to the smaller wheel here. So we're excited to keep on making cool content for you guys, and we want to hear from you and help us keep the lights on here to do future Curious podcasts.
Indeed, we will be getting curious with more actors for sure. I think this will be a thing we keep up.
I think so, yeah. Because every time we do a movie, I start to veer away from the Bond actors, and it's like I want to know this guy.
Same.
This guy, I want to see.
Last week we were talking
movies.
about John Candy.
I want Candy. I want Candy. That's it, So yeah, so keep it locked, man. Patreon.com.
/ConneryCurious.
And of course all the socials. We'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah, we got the Instagram, we've got the YouTube, we're on TikTok now.
Yeah,
dropping
TikTok.
The shorts.
We're like the kids, man. We're doing TikToks and YouTube shorts now, so you guys can catch us everywhere. It's crazy.
We're off of the Twitters because we don't like anti-Semitism.
Well, the X. It's X now, so who cares, man? We're here for
we're XX users.
We're XX users. Although I hear good things about Threads, which is kind of like Instagram's Twitter.
Though I did hear that once you make a Threads, you can never delete it. Like, to delete it, you have to also delete the Instagram profile that is associated with it. So, I don't know. I feel like anything that you can't actually take back, I'm a little hesitant to start up.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't want to get rid of this anyways.
Neither would I.
This is going to go down in history.
Yes, it is. Connery Curious will make history, and there is quite a history to Connery Curious in Connery Curious history. What am I saying? Okay, I think we should get onto our ratings.
Let's get onto our ratings. Of course, after every discussion of the film, Dylan and I get into our ratings of the film. We rate the film, we rate the Connery, but we also like to rate the sexiness, the SHing, and of course the score of the movie score.
Alrighty. So here we go. We've got our Connery Curious ratings document. Let me pull up Another Time, Another Place. That was episode number 49. Mario, next episode is going to be episode 50. Ooh. 50 movies we've reviewed on this podcast come next week.
How do anniversaries work? Is that silver?
I don't know.
No, that might be. Well, how about you start the rating while I look that up?
Okay. Well, our first rating, as Mario said, is the SH rating, as you can see in our documentary here. And it's basically the question of how thick is the S when Sean Connery speaks? How thick is that H? And I'm going to give it, in this movie, a 1. It is not very thick in this film. Mario, how about you?
I think I'm going to agree with you. A 1. Yeah, it's very, very not there. Like maybe I was thinking maybe it was, but I think I said this before with older films, just because of the microphones and everything, you get a natural esh and stuff. But yeah, this is young Connery. This is introducing Sean Connery. It's not there. It's a 1.
Yeah, a lot of what you just described is like that little that's just comes down to the audio track itself. Just little tiny peaks in having just not super clear microphones at the time, I guess.
Also, I found, hold on, did I find it proper? What are the ranks of anniversaries? Okay, this is interesting. So for anniversaries, I want to get the whole list. It's interesting how it goes. The first one, which me and Alicia joked about, because we just had our first anniversary, is the paper anniversary. Second is cotton.
Wait,
Third,
what is paper? How many?
1 year.
1 year. Okay, is your paper anniversary? What does this mean? What is this?
It's like as your years go on, your anniversary years, it just like it gets more rare. So I'm not going to do every single one.
But what is this a reference to? Like,
I'm not sure.
What is paper? Like, forgive me, I'm failing to understand. Like,
I think it's just like the quality of.
Like, I get what like a bicentennial is. You know what I mean? Like,
so here we go. There are traditional names for wedding anniversaries from 1st to 80th. This list is based on symbolic gifts.
Oh, it's wedding anniversaries. Okay.
Wedding anniversaries. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the question.
That's what I was trying to. When I said bicentennial, I'm like, okay, yes, centennial meaning 100 years, bi meaning there's 2. Like, I get, like, you know what I mean? It's setting something up, but I'm like, paper. What the fuck is paper?
So yeah, it's anniversary.
What is paper in terms of yearly measurement? What does that mean? Like it barely makes sense how we measure things in feet. You know what I mean? Like, if it would only make sense if everyone's feet were the same size.
So there's a whole list of them. But I'll just kind of go through like the kind of the landmarks.
Okay.
First,
I didn't mean to freak out.
First is paper. 10th is tin.
20th, 10 for 10.
10 for 10. 20th is China.
Okay.
And 30th is pearl.
Okay.
40th is ruby.
Sapphire.
And sapphire is 45th.
Crystal.
Crystal is
heart gold, heart silver.
Crystal is 15th.
Oh, nice.
Give me something. I got them all here. But 50th. So
Arceus.
Arceus. That's a Pokemon. But our 50th episode anniversary is going to be gold.
Gold.
I love gold.
Imagine if we got Goldfinger for that one if we hadn't done
that.
That
would have been perfect. So
if we spin the wheel, it lands on gold. Remember, like, wait, who put that there? You're like, not me.
So yeah, so next week we'll be celebrating our golden anniversary.
Wow,
with golden showers. No, I'm sorry.
Well, we're over a year now, so it's our golden years.
We're at the golden years.
Yeah. All righty. Gold, our gold anniversary for our next episode. Look at that. Okay, so we both gave the SH a 1 for an average of 1. Now let's move on to the sexy rating. Mario?
It's kind of sexy. It's kind of like it's it's a romantic film, obviously, and it's I don't know. It's kind of the time period is very kind of sexy. I think of it's like kind of old school movie stars and kind of glamorous and whatnot. Everyone in this movie, I feel like, is beautiful. Connery, this might be one of the top best looking Connerys. No hairpiece, looking all natural. But it's not the sexiest movie in the world.
No.
But I think it's sexy enough to at least hit me at a 6.
You're giving it a 6.
A 6. Sexy 6.
Mario, that's funny because while you were saying that, I changed my rating from a 6 to a 6.5.
Oh, why? Elaborate.
Not an 8.5, 6.5. So my reasoning was I gave it a 6 originally, and you've got Sean Connery looking stellar. You've got Lana Turner looking stellar. You've got Glynis Johns looking stellar. Just a stellar cast. So the reason I changed it from a 6 was just I looked down as that was going through, as you were talking, as I was going through my head, I was thinking of that, and I looked down and I said, that's it? That's all you gave it was a 6? They're better looking than that. Though I might have to pull it back another quarter of a point just because of Lana Turner's painted on eyebrows. Because that is not my favorite look, I must admit. But who am I to say? But I think I'll stick with a 6.5 for an average of 6.25.
Okay.
So Glynis Johns, especially, just stunning. Absolutely beautiful woman.
That was definitely the big applause break moment for me. Seeing her walk out, I just didn't expect it. I'm like, wow, that was like a pleasant surprise. I really enjoyed that.
Can I talk about something in terms of sex appeal?
Sure.
So one of the major stories that I kept finding out as I was researching this movie is, I'll share my screen with you here. The Johnny Stampanato incident. So Lana Turner was dating at the time a gangster named Johnny Stampanato. He thought she was having an affair with Connery. You know what's strange? He kind of looks like Nicole's father. Anyway.
A little bit of Christian Bale. If they had to cast somebody, I would cast Christian Bale.
Oh, yeah, actually. Yeah.
It's the eyes and the nose.
The making of the movie. Oh. Anyway, so he suspected that Turner was having an affair with Connery, and he showed up on the set and pointed a gun at Connery. And then Connery responded by grabbing the gun out of Stampanato's hand and twisting his wrist, causing him to run off the set.
And that's why he's James fucking Bond.
Right? This is according to Wikipedia. So, and after Stampanato's death, it was rumored that a Los Angeles mobster held Connery responsible, causing Connery, who was in L.A. to make Darby O'Gill, to be nervously looking over his shoulder for a time. Now, to follow up on that, that's a very short time period, you notice, but by the next year, this Johnny Stampanato was dead. He was murdered by Lana Turner's daughter out of self-defense. Cheryl Crane was Lana Turner's daughter, and he was being abusive to Lana Turner, and he was about to beat her very severely, and she stabbed him to death to protect her mother.
What? Dude, right there just told me the real reason he was cast as James Bond. Because we talked about Darby O'Gill was the movie that they looked at him for and said, oh, that's not why, because he took on a mobster. He disarmed a mobster.
I'm
an
sure that
action
story
hero.
got around.
Yeah, they're like, this guy should be James Bond.
I don't take any shit.
That's insane. Wow. The behind the scenes of this movie has as many twists as the movie itself. It's tremendous. What a tremendous story.
Trust me, Johnny, if she was sleeping with me, she would have left you already.
That's crazy. That was a good story. That was a good story.
Right? So, just thought that was worth sharing, and I feel like it fits into the sex appeal category.
I feel like that made the movie a little sexier to me now.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go up to a 7 now.
Murder.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking of him looking the way he did in this movie, disarming a person in real life. That's probably he probably was like the coolest looking dude that day.
It is pretty tragic what happened afterwards, though. Like, obviously less so to Stampinato because he was an abuser, but like, can you imagine going through that and having to do that as a child? Like having to kill somebody to protect your mother, like, and the media and the trial that followed it, and like it. From what I was reading about it, it seems pretty harrowing.
Crazy.
So, and that was shortly after this movie finished.
That's heavy, man.
Yeah. So when you think about it, this whole time during this film, Lana Turner is probably being abused. And still pulling in this really incredible performance.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sexy rating.
Sorry. Okay, so let's move on to the musical score. It's our next rating. Mario, you want to go first?
Sure. I feel like I might be putting my score up a little higher after sitting here and listening to that theme song that you shared over. Because I like that. I think I really like that piece of music. We kind of touched on it earlier. It's like the music's good, but I feel like it doesn't fit the scene at times. It feels a little too crazy at times.
It's heightened for sure.
Yeah. So
if the scene is playing at a 4, the music's playing at an 8.
Yeah. So I think that kind of like took me out of it a little bit because like I'm kind of like when it starts to pick up like that, I'm kind of sitting there like, oh, what's going to happen now? It's like that the house is going to explode. What's going to happen? And no, it's just her walking down the hallway. You know. So I think for that, the music is good, but yeah, doesn't fit the picture for me. So I'm gonna say give it the benefit of the doubt and just kind of I'll drop it at a 7. It's fine.
Okay. Wow, you're giving it better than I am. I'm going to give it a 6.
Okay.
I liked the music, but yeah, like I said, you know, where a scene is at a 3 or a 4, the music's going to be at like a 7 or an 8, and it feels like, whoa, pull the energy down, energy-wise, not in terms of like score
it's
itself.
It's the equivalent of speaking of James Bond of Connery and Dr. No walking through the lobby of the hotel with the James Bond
with
theme
the Bond
playing.
theme playing, yeah,
it's
blasting.
Like, that should be happening during a car chase or like a
heroic
gunfight.
moment.
Yeah, but it's just him like literally checking his mail at the desk,
putting powder on the phone or whatever on his briefcase.
Yeah, so it's like super intense.
Yeah, so that's how I feel about it. But that being said, the music itself is very well composed and performed. So I really like it. And again, talking about the theme song, I really like this theme song. I think we should play this live.
Hell yeah.
So, so I'm going to give it a 6.
Okay.
And now we move on to our film rating. Mario, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll have you go first.
Okay. I really liked this film. This, as we said, you know, we can't judge a film by its appearances, and you know, our history with some of these earlier films has been hit or miss, you know, between Tarzan's Greatest Adventure, which we didn't really love all that much, and Action of the Tiger, which we didn't love all that much, to Darby O'Gill, which we really liked, and The Frightened City, which was, you know, just kind of okay. You know, actually, we seem to really like The Frightened City. We both 7 and 7.5. Yeah, we gave pretty good. Okay, never mind. So I felt like it could be a kind of hit or miss situation. But this film took me by surprise with the twists. The melodrama worked. Like, I didn't at any point feel like I was being sold cheap entertainment. You know what I mean? I was invested in the characters. I really, 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 really wanted Kay to have closure and to have a good life. I really wanted Sarah to recognize that she was being a toxic person and like turn herself around for the better. I really wanted Carter to get through and like, because he does love her. Like when he's in the sanatorium and he hugs her and says, "I love you." He does. He's not the greatest at showing his emotions, but he genuinely cares for her, and he's frustrated that he can't reach her, you know? And Alan just struggling to like, how do I protect this person that I care about that has been hurt so much while also protecting this person that I know on a friendly level? There were a lot of very compelling storylines in this, along with, you know, Mark Trevor as a character. I really liked that. We'll get into that in the Connery rating, but you know what? I'm talked long enough. My film rating is an 8. I would watch this again.
Okay.
I'm giving it a high rating of an 8. How about you?
All right. So yeah, after the discussion of this film, yeah, it's like such a surprise with this film, and I feel like more people should be talking about this movie. I feel it's like
surprise is the
underrated.
best word.
What is it?
Surprise is the best word. That's the word that was eluding me the whole time. It was a surprise. I did not expect this out of this film.
Yeah, it's so many layers to it. Again, after discussing just the kind of aspects of grief and friendship and love and all that, like, this movie's really good, man. The more you like break it down, I feel like this is a movie that would benefit from multiple watches, because I feel like you can get something different from it every time you kind of watch it. Maybe you see something you didn't see the first time. Maybe it's like you read something that you didn't quite
You sympathize
read.
or empathize with a different character this time.
Yeah, and now that you know the ending, maybe you kind of look at the rest of the movie as a whole a little differently.
A little more forgiving.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is a really good film, man. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I might go a little step higher with an 8.5.
Hot diggity damn, son. I like it. All righty. Would you watch it again?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, now let's get to the biggest rating.
I really do think this is a good Valentine's Day movie. I really do think.
I agree.
I was like, we try. Sometimes we'll connect movies to holidays. This felt like a good Valentine's Day movie.
Okay, I think the only other Valentine's Day film we've really had has been Playing by Heart. Wait, what else? What are you thinking of? Wait, we've got a lot. Cuba's a good Valentine's Day movie.
The one. What's the one with Angelina Jolie?
Playing by Heart.
That is Playing by Heart. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah, that's a good Valentine's Day movie. And, yeah.
Have we had any other good Valentine's Day movies?
I mean, in certain people's hearts, maybe From Rush with Love is kind of romantic.
The Russia House.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a kind of a romantic movie. Cuba's got some romance in it. Murder on the Orient Express is very
Christmas
romantic.
That's Christmas.
I mean romantic in the sense of like it's feel. You know what I mean?
A train is always going to be romantic.
Yeah. Robin and Marion.
Yeah.
That's a romance movie.
Yeah.
Highlander's a romance movie. It really is a romance movie.
Yeah.
Who wants to live forever?
But yeah, Another Time, Another Place, good Valentine's Day movie. But let's move on to our final rating.
Sorry.
This
carried away with that.
This is the most important one, man. The man himself. I'm going to have you go first for this one.
Oh, damn, I was going to have you go first. But okay, I'll go first. I'm going to give him an 8.5. Introducing Sean Connery, pulls his weight. Also, why is he introducing? Because we get a lot of movies beforehand. He's had at least 2 named roles before this.
Yeah, but how big were those movies?
That's true.
You know, I feel like this is more of like, it's kind of like
Mark Trevor's a character. Mike is not a character.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think with that, it's like, it's like your newer cast members of SNL. They're going to be featured players for at least that year. You know what I mean? They're still going to be the new guys. Connery, I think, is starting to come up here into like what we'll soon find out is a legendary actor. So I like the idea of introducing, and you know, it's also introducing in the fact where like, yeah, we find out later he dies very early in the movie. So it really is like introducing him because he's not like a featured person in this.
Meet him, kids. All right,
movie.
He's gone.
It's like, here he is. But again, his presence is all over this movie, man. So you gave him 8.5.
8.5. He pulled. If he knew that it, like, his credit in the movie was going to be introducing Sean Connery, if he knew that, I'm saying, in his head, he was like, damn it, son, you're going to earn that introducing. You're gonna be charismatic and charming, and like, he pulls his weight every minute that he's on that screen. That first scene with the bomb is so good. Him just reporting on it is so compelling. You know, he's very good. 8.5. What are you giving him, bud?
I from the second the movie ended, I gave him an 8. Still staying with the 8. Tremendous. We've had a few films doing this podcast where he's either died off or wasn't in a ton of. With this movie, he did so much in such a short amount of time. And
he set the plot up.
And I think he's tremendous. The time we had with him, no time was wasted at all. At no point did I feel like he was wasting my time or he was like phoning it in or whatever. Or
he didn't have a bad scene.
He was great. I think this is a great film for him. And there's a reason why he got hired as Bond. They saw him in this. They saw him in Darby O'Gill. It's like, man, this guy might be able to do it all. You know, singing, dancing, and being dramatic, but also being very suave and cool. I think we've seen quite a bit doing this podcast for as long as we have, the different sort of hats he can put on. And I feel like people saw that early on with him.
And how those different hats, how well he wears those different hats, because I know I'm not sharing it right now, but if you look on the ratings here, I'm going to go by the averages. So for Another Time, Another Place, he's got an average of 8.25. Darby O'Gill, the next one, is 8.3. Tarzan's Greatest Adventure, 1. Frightened City, 8.75. So he's got range, but how well he pulls off that range might be debatable. Because, like, you know, when he's trying to play like a kind of like a ignorant badass, like in Action of the Tiger or Tarzan's Greatest Adventure, we don't like him so much, you know? So it seems like his range, like, when he's dialed in, he's really, really dialed in. And when he's not dialed in, he is really not dialed in. You know what I mean? So, okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
But yeah, I think he's tremendous in this. I loved it. And yeah, sticking with my 8.
Fair enough. Well, let me go back through the averages here. Excuse me. All right, our average SH is a 1. He does not very much. Our average sexy rating is a 6.25. It's kind of a sexy movie. There's some very attractive actors and actresses in it. Our musical score, our average musical score is a 6.5. We kind of like the music. There's some decent music in here. How well it's pairs with the film itself, debatable, but the music is good. Our average film rating is an 8.25. We'd watch this film again. It's pretty good. Our average Sean rating is an 8.25. We'd watch him in this film again. He's pretty good. Our total Sean rating, which takes the average of all our averages, is a 6.05, which is just kind of under its next film. Darby O'Gill gets a 6.5. A 6.5, excuse me. And it's just, Another Time, Another Place, 6.05. Darby O'Gill, 6.5. Sorry, that went a little too long. But, yeah, seems like we pretty much like this movie.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Before we go into the wheel, can I take a quick Connor P?
Yeah, I also have to take a Connor P.
We will be. So we're going to take a Connor P, and right after this short break, we'll be back with the wheel spin.
Yeah.
BRB. All right, and we're back. It's time for our favorite section of the show, Dylan. You know what we're doing next?
I do. And you know who's doing it?
Who's doing it? Is it my turn this week?
It's your turn this week, friend.
All right, let me get it open. Here it is. I'm just making sure everything's out of here that we've already done.
Of course. For those of you at home that are waiting in suspense for this is your first episode of Connery Curious, welcome.
It's so interesting choice. If this is your first
very
episode.
Interesting choice. I wonder did you watch this recently and made you think like, oh, what a compelling film. I should look up any podcasts that are based on it or such. Either way, welcome to the podcast. But for those of you that are new or don't know or do know, this section of the podcast is where we go to wheelofnames.com. I'm doing it this week. Hey. And we spin the Wheel of Curiosities. It helps if you put it in alphabetical order, and then you can see any ones that may be stuck on there.
I think I got them all.
So what we did here is we put all of Connery's films onto this wheel, and at one point there were 75 films, but now there are
21 films left, Dylan.
From 75 to 21. And keep in mind, there is one film that's not on the list right now because it will be our last film, and that is Sir Billy. Because it was his last, it'll be our last.
Exactly.
So, but other than that, 21 films remain. Look at that.
It's insane.
What do you want? What do you not want?
I still want League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I think. I feel like that's been the one I've been kind of leaning on lately, because I feel like we haven't gotten old Connery in a bit, and that's like his second to last film. So I don't know why I'm in the mood for that. So I think that's my big want.
Okay.
And my big not want is still Bond, because I'm not ready for it.
Okay, yeah, I'd be down to get like On the Fiddle out of the way, though I will say it seems we've been doing nothing but older Sean Connery films, like not where he's old, like the older films themselves.
Yeah.
And I could kind of use a break from that. So yeah, something like LXG. It's fun to say. I really, really want Time Bandits. A good friend said that they would be down for Name of the Rose or Prince of Thieves, so I'd be down for either of those. And Hunt for Red October. Oh, I can't wait for that one.
Yes.
I'm still really Connery curious about Highlander 2. I'm so curious about that movie.
Yes.
And you're right. I don't want a Bond either. I feel like we should save Thunderball and Never Say Never Again till closer to the end. You know.
Yeah.
That's it. Once we get those, that's it.
Yeah.
And then we'd have 19 films, 20 films left still to watch, and no more Bond coming. And Thunderball is one of my favorites too. So. Okay, so yeah, I think that covers it for me. How about you?
All right. So yeah, that's it for me, man. So I think I'm going to start
let's give it
shuffling.
a shuffle. Yep, I'll say when. When. Okay.
Okay.
Or stop, whichever you'd prefer.
That works.
Okay. Oh, boy. Are you ready, Mario?
I am ready to spin the wheel of curiosities. A late entry into the wheel, Macbeth.
Yeah, and also an older film. So this is Macbeth.
All right. So we're going to stay with older Connery for a minute.
Connery doing Shakespeare. 1961, a TV movie, Macbeth. 80 minutes, starring Sean Connery as Macbeth in his first North American role. It's a Canadian television film adaptation. Wow.
Good gracious. All right.
His first significant Shakespearean role, which means he did other Shakespearean roles in the theater. Anyway.
Well, excellent. So until then, yeah. So we're going to be tackling another young Connery.
Doing Shakespeare.
Yeah, this was a late. I think you put this in like a month ago or something.
I think back in like October or something. I just saw that it was in his filmography and that he plays Macbeth, and that it was 80 minutes. And I'm like, I feel like this deserves to be on the list.
Yeah, we gotta
if
see.
we're including Goal, we should include Macbeth, where he is Macbeth.
He's acting.
Yeah.
It's on television.
And
Why
it's
not?
Shakespeare, so you know he's really going to be acting.
Yeah. So I think so. I'm ready for it, man. So.
Me too. Another black and white picture.
Yeah, there you go. So, guys, this was another time, another place, and we will see you another time and another place with
on the next episode of Connery Curious.
Sean Connery will return in Macbeth.
Macbeth.
So
holy
cool.
cow.
And we will also be returning as Mario Lima. Mario Lima playing Macbeth. And
Dylan Titus playing... Who would I play in Macbeth? I feel like I should be the king that gets murdered. Not because I want to be the king, but I think it would be nice to be Duncan and be murdered.
There you go.
I don't know. I feel like it would be fun to be murdered in a play. Only in a play, not in real life.
Only in a play. All right, good. Glad you can clarify that. But anyways,
we'll see. Dangerous foreshadowing. Anyway, you've been
Mario Lima.
And I've been Dylan Titus. And as always, folks,
stay curious. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Connery Curious.
You've been listening to Connery Curious, a Titus Compositions and Friggin' Nerds Media podcast. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Connery Curious for updates, memes, and episode clips. You can also visit Dylan on Instagram at Titus Compositions to hear other podcasts and original music, watch music videos, or even pick up a great vinyl record. For more discussion about your favorite films, comics, and games, and a network for all things nerdy, visit me, Mario, at Friggin' Nerds Media. You can rate, review, and share the podcast in-app, which helps us grow the show and reach other curious Connerys out there. Thanks for spending time with us. Have a great day, and remember, stay curious.